haven't talked about market specifics in a while. As you know, I'm a data junkie. One of the things that makes me insane is when pundits, like on Twitter, X, Bloomberg News, whatever, whatever media distribution channel you follow, take a broad brush and they go, inventory is piling up. Oh, the sky is falling. Real estate is so incredibly hyper-local that I thought it would be worthwhile to remind everybody, back in the day, pre-COVID, I followed inventory levels as religiously as I do now. Pre-COVID, for the Barrier Island, for houses on the Barrier Island in Vero Beach where I practice, it was the norm pre-COVID to always have around 300 to 350 homes for sale. And days on market was about the same, around 300 days. I know that. I know what you're saying. You're saying, Sally, that's almost 3/4 of a year to sell. That was our norm. So when you see pundits saying the sky is falling and inventory is up 8,000%, it is true our inventory is higher than it was at its low point. There's no doubt about it. But as I look today, we still only have 212 homes for sale on the Barrier Island. That's 30% off pre-pandemic norms. So we're nowhere close to inventory levels pre-pandemic. The other thing that's super interesting to me is that days on market is still, depending on your price sector, 114, 150, 160 days, nowhere close to the 300 to 350 that it used to be. So none of our metrics have come back to be on par with the norms pre-COVID. So that's an important micro market data point for you to think about when you're thinking about Vero Beach, Florida. And don't forget, if you're coming from New York or Connecticut or places where it's super hot, you know, I had somebody say to me, oh, this has been on the market for 45 days. I'm like, dude, that's like nothing. Where you're from, it might be, you gotta know the intel where you are to help you put things in context. That's the first thing. The other thing that I think is interesting to observe is the amount of listings that are reducing their prices in order to take a contract is dramatically down. Earlier in the year, like Q4, we had a peak of like 45% of our listings were taking a price reduction in order to attract a sell. Well, what does that mean? That means broadly as a cohort, none of us were pricing correctly because the market was changing and we were trying to play catch up, right? What's interesting is right now that number is only around 32, 33%. So that's a big drop in people that are reducing. So what can we really intuit from that? Well, maybe the people finally got their prices right, number one. Number two, maybe sellers have gotten to the point where they're saying, this is kind of my basement. And my in-basis is cheap enough, as many of the homeowners have had, 49% appreciation. And if they were here 15 years before that, they have huge equity positions. So it could be a combination of sellers saying, okay, we've already listed to the lowest that we're going to. And it could also be some sellers saying, I'm going to take it off the market and I'm going to go back on in the fall. And I'm going to wait and see where the market is to help me inform my pricing. Maybe keep it the same when hopefully more buyers are back in the market and, Powell reduces rates finally and maybe there's more activity. Or if not, maybe I come on in the fall with an amended offering so you don't see the dreaded down arrow on the listing. So I think because of the seasonality of our Vero Beach market, I think it's a little too early to tell which that is, and I think time will tell. But really the premise of the story is real estate is hyper local. What's true on the Barrier Island isn't true on the mainland. What's true for condos isn't true for single family houses. So when you see pundits saying the sky is falling and inventory is up 50 million%, it may be true, but where is it in context of pre-COVID? And in Vero Beach, with our low density housing, which means our supply is rather finite, we are still 30% off.